Okay. Hello everybody, this is Kyle from Team Yoshi. We're finally starting to do some videos again. We're going to be posting the Abyss Rising box opening, which you'll see is
wonderful.
A really bad box, but there's a regional in Charlotte, North Carolina next weekend, and we're going to be going, and I've decided to run Dino Rabbit at the regional. I think it's a really good meta call right now. I've tried it a couple times before, and hasn't always worked out that great, but basically Dolka is an auto win card pretty close to this format. So anyway, I'll get on to the deck. It's 41 cards, I believe. Obviously 3 Sabersaurus and 3 Cabazals, aka my typical opening hand. Triple Guaiba, just because Guaiba is really, really good again. It gets over anything that wind-ups put into play. It gets over turn 1 Undines and Mermails. It's just really good again, and it's free ways to make your Evil Stars now that you only have 2 rabbits. You side it out sometimes, but it's really, really good. Only 2 rabbits, unfortunately, and only 2 tour guides, with of course the Sangan and Night Assailant for the 4th target, because it is very, very important to get both tour guides off if you do happen to draw them, because Leviair is the best card in the deck other than the Evil Stars. Double Effect Veiler, I'm not maining Dimensional Fissure just because I know if I do, I'm going to play like awkward shit all day, like Yugioh and stuff that like defissure literally doesn't affect at all. I feel like it's safer to just main Effect Veiler, and then that way I can also run Gores. But of course those other cards will be in the side deck. And 1 Spirit Reaper, just because sometimes when you draw awkwardly you need to stall out, and it's always nice to get cards out of your opponent's hand, and Spirit Reaper is just a pretty versatile card. Mermails have a tough time getting over this unless they do open with Undine. And that's all for the monsters. Spells, obviously, Dark Hole, Reborn, Heavy, staples in almost every deck. Triple Forbidden Lance, best spell in the deck by far. Basically, this allows you to make a turn 1 Dolka, whereas otherwise you have to make Logia. Dolka turn 1 with a Lance and like any other legitimate back row at all is very, very hard to deal with, but you never know.
No, it's not.
Things can still happen, but Lance is obviously extremely important. Like, I would run more than 3 if I could. It's really, really good. Book of Moon is a staple when you run Guaiba because it's a free Logia or Dolka, whatever. Double MST, just because this format is not as back row heavy. Mermails don't run that much back row. Agents don't run much. And you want to save these for the Abyss Sphere anyway when you play Mermails, but 3 is too much mained, because then you'll play Agents and you'll lose. 1 Soul Taker main decked, just because there are a lot of big beaters this format. Dino Rabbit has never been able to get over big beaters without a Lance. And Soul Taker, it's an out to annoying shit. Like, heroes make the Shining at 3200 and there's no outs to it in this deck at all, other than like Evac or this. And 1 Mind Control, because I run a lot of useless dinosaurs that I can turn into rank 4s with this, and also the mirror match should be fairly likely, and of course Mind Control on an opponent's dino is amazingly good. And the traps are extremely standard. Double Warning, Double Bottomless, Double Dimensional Prison, Double Torrential, Solemn, 1 Compulsory, and 1 Starlight Road. The only thing I suppose I should mention, Double Torrential. I did not used to run 2 Torrentials in this deck, but I was convinced by Joe G. Orlando, who topped 32'd with Dino Rabbit at the last YCS Seattle, that, like he said, you're not always going to open Rabbit, and Torrential just makes bad players look even worse when they just spam into your Torrential and you win because of it. So there are only a select couple of decks that you shouldn't run 2 Torrentials in, and this one you can run 2, so you do. And that's it for the main deck. Like I said, it's 41 cards, I believe. No duality. Some people are running duality now, but I really just don't think I have room for it, or I would. Let me go over the extra deck real quick. This is pretty standard too. Obviously, you've got double Dolka, double Logia, MVPs, of course. You make them whenever you can. Gaga Cowboy. This replaces the Gem-Knight Pearl as the new big beater. It gets around, goes in match with Sabersaurus because it is an Earth, and it can be at 3,000 basically for the turn. It's a really good card. Tapo Operative to deal with Spirit Reaper and whatever. Maestroke's just a staple. Double Leviair because if you run one, you'll wish you had two, and there's room for two, so you run two. Zenmain's still a good card. Leviathan is okay, I guess. Acid Golem because you need the big beater. Tempo because it's really good against windups. And Acid Golem.
And everything.
And, yes.
That doesn't exceed.
Yeah. And Stardust for the Starlight Road because you are stupid if you don't. And my side deck, double Max C. Obviously, sometimes windups can have a decent time against this deck. If you don't get a Dolka off early game, windups can kind of have their way with you. So that's why I'm maining Valor and why I'm siding Max C's. Double Thunder King because you side out Gwaiba against stuff like Heroes and Geargias, and Thunder King goes in against them because it's just better. Like when Gwaiba goes out, you need something else that you can normal summon that does decent stuff, and Ryo is by far the best option. Snowman Eater, because like I said, I expect the mirror match to be very prevalent. Snowman Eater kills Logia in one shot, and it's just generically good against like random shit. Like,
why is that not shiny?
Like Gemini. I used to have those, but not everything is as shiny as it once was in this deck. One Chain Disappearance because I always side at least one Chain Disappearance. Actually, never two, because last time I sided two, I dead drew both of them at YCS Columbus. But one Chain D just because if you do get it off on a Magician or a Rat, it's essentially game. And it's good against random shit. Like Karakuris can't deal with having the Nishi removed. Samurais can't deal with having their tuner, Kagemusha. If he goes out of play, they essentially lose. So it's still a good card in the right matchup. One Macrocosmos, one obviously doesn't seem like enough. That's because I'm siding D-Fissure also, and I just want that extra bit of removal against something like Dark Worlds, where if you keep this in play, it's game. Double Dust Tornado, this will go in against Mermails every single time, because without Abyss Sphere, their plays are actually fairly limited. If you can keep Abyss Sphere from going off and stabilize a Dolka, you win. Like, they can't do anything. A second Soul Taker in the side deck for decks like Agents that put a lot of big beaters in play that you need to deal with. One Nobleman to cross out for Gravekeepers and for fucking Geargia Armor, the most retarded monster available to... I hate that card. I really do hate that card. Third MST and triple D-Fissure because a turn 1 Logia with the D-Fissure is game against Mermails and just about anything that needs the grave, actually. So, yeah, D-Fissure. It's almost good enough to main, but like I said, I know if I do, I'll play Geargias all day, and they'll be dead. So, yeah, that's it. That's what I'll be taking next weekend to Charlotte. Hopefully it'll work out okay. But if not, there's always the Winamats. So, yeah, that's it.